Dear students, next topic it is a constitution is written. So this is your homework. What we want to do? We want to read this topic. What is the topic? A constitution is written. And what we want to do? We want to read and underline the major points or important points or which we are feeling like that it is important. You can right side also what it mean or the main points of this paragraph, or you can underline some important dates and other things. And at the same time, what we want to do, we want to study the constitution, how it is derived, the third lesson of civics. So third lesson of civics and a constitution is written in history lesson, 10th lesson. So we are going to make a comparative study. So in civics, in which way it presented? Okay, it is history lesson. What is the topic? Heading how it is given, a constitution has written. Okay, and civics, what it is, the development of constitution, it is there in, that is in the civics, which lesson? Third lesson of civics. Okay, third lesson of civics, and here it is history, 10th lesson. So we want to make two boxes in our notebook, and we want to make two boxes. In first box, in history 10th lesson, what written about the formation of constitution. So question is formation of constitution. So in history, what all points we are discussing, that we want to find out, like 1 2 3 4 like that. Then we will think about Dr. Ambedkar and what are the values, like that things, everything for fundamental rights, like that things we are discussing or not. What all things we are discussing in history 10th chapter as well as in civics 3rd chapter, that you point wise you want to make the chart. So after making this chart only we will discuss this topic. Okay, once again your homework, it is history 10th lesson as well as civics 3rd lesson. In both lesson we are thinking about the formation of or the development of constitution, how it described or discussed in both lessons, that you want to compare and write in two boxes, history in first box and civics in second box. In bulletin point you want to note it. Okay, now we are moving to next topic. That one is how were the states to be formed. So we said like that the states, when we are looking to Tamil Nadu or Kerala or Gujarat or Maharashtra, we can see from that name itself we can understand what is their mother tongue, like that many states, but some states, Kerala, Andhra, like there's few states we can't understand their language what it is. But normally if you are looking to Rajasthan, Punjab or Maharashtra, even Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, in every state we can see, many states we can see that name derived, state name derived from their own language. So what is we taken, that is we made our states in the name of language. So we are going to read the lesson. Back in 1920s, the Indian National Congress, the main party of freedom struggle, had promised that once the country won independence, each major linguistic group would have its own province. So what was the promise given the National Congress leaders when India becoming independent country? We will get it, each and every major language, they will get their own separate province. So this promise given in which year? 1920s. And when, which year we become independent? 1947. Before 20 years, 25 years, that time itself, our National Congress leaders, they thought about the development, how our India should be. That we discussed already when we thought about the third lesson of civics. Okay, then however, after independence, the Congress did not take any step to honor this promise in the starting. Just after getting independence, Congress never thought about to think about this promise. For India had been divided on the base of religion. In the time of independence, India divided in the name of religion. How? India and Pakistan, that division. Despite the wishes and effort of Mahatma Gandhi, freedom had come not to one nation but to two. Gandhiji thought like that we will get same country India and Pakistan together, it will be one country and with religious prosperity or religious harmony. But in the time of independence, what happened, it become two countries, and that also in the name of religion, and that was totally against the idea or the dream of Gandhiji. Then, as a result, the partition of India, more than 1 million people had been killed in riots between Hindus and Muslims. So, we have seen the refugees, and I will send a video clip at the end of this video, and you can see that one how we was killing each other, both religion, Hindus and Muslims, are in different way also. Could the country afford further divisions on the basis of language? Why the Congress not taken the initiative to make the states in the name of language? Because they face the problem of killing each other, and that's why never thought like that, making the reorganization of the states very faster way in the name of language. Then both Prime Minister Nehru and Deputy Prime Minister Vallabhbhai Patel were against the creation of linguistic state. After the partition, Nehru said disruption tendencies had come to the fore. To check them, the nation had to be strong and united. So, as Patel put it, the first and last need of India at the present moment is that it should be made a nation. Everything which helps the growth of nationalism had to go forward, and everything which throws obstacles in its way has to be rejected. We have applied this test to linguistic provinces also, and by this test, in our opinion, they cannot be supported. So the Prime Minister as well as the Deputy Prime Minister, what they thought, making the country again into different groups in the name of language, it will affect our unity. So what they said, we want to make our nation first in the with mind and soul, we should come together. So as a 8th standard student or a child, we also should have some idea about our nation. Many things happening in our nation, it may be good or bad, and many political parties are they are giving some promises. Some of them they will keep it, some of them they will forget it after election, like that things it is going on. So like Nehru ji or like Vallabhbhai Patel, we also should have some dream, and we should have some opinion how my India should be. As a 8th standard citizen of India, means we are almost responsible or dutiful children of our country. So we should have a dream about that, how my country should, or what all values should I want to follow in my personal life as a responsible citizen of India or dutiful citizen of India, like that. So it is a situation, the first Prime Minister as well as Deputy Prime Minister challenging us as a 8th standard student, what all values I want to learn, what should be my dream about my own country, what should how I look to my nation. They are calling us to look to India to understand the real spirit of India. Okay, now we are going to watch a small video clipping with this video. Then you can think in a different way. We are going to see that one, the partition and other things. Okay. So after that we will stop the video. You can complete your homework what I have sent already.
After more than 200 years, British India was partitioned into two independent nation states, India and Pakistan. India was to remain secular with a Hindu majority. Pakistan was to have a Muslim majority. This is the story of how two countries were carved up in haste by British colonists, and how this led to one of the largest human migrations in history. An estimated 15 million people were uprooted as Muslims began trekking to East and West Pakistan, while Hindus and Sikhs went the other way. Between 1 and 2 million people lost their lives due to large-scale religious violence, starvation, and disease. More than 75,000 women were raped or abducted. But how did this religious hatred spark so much violence? To understand this, we have to look at Britain's rule of India. Tensions between Hindus and Muslims did exist before the British Raj was established. But many Muslims, Hindus, and Sikhs also coexisted peacefully. When the British came to rule, they used a now infamous strategy of divide and rule. They enforced specific measures like the scientific census in 1871 and the formation of a separate electorate for Muslims, which led to the evolution of rigid religious identities. These identities became more important than language or ethnicity and were used to pit people against one another so that the British could consolidate their own power. Mistrust between Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, and Christians began to grow. How did this lead to the country being partitioned? Indians had long wanted independence from repressive British rule. During World War I, Britain introduced the Defence Act of India, which gave them indiscriminate power to lock people up without trial and restrict freedom of speech and movement. In 1919, British soldiers massacred unarmed Sikh men, women, and children who had gathered to celebrate the Sikh New Year in Jallianwala Bagh. Some say the massacre marked the beginning of resistance against colonial governance. But to understand how and why the country was partitioned, we also need to understand the political players at the time. This is Jawaharlal Nehru and Mahatma Gandhi. They were leaders of the Congress, a Hindu-dominated secular political party which spearheaded the independence movement. They wanted a united, secular India. This is Muhammad Ali Jinnah. He was the leader of the Muslim League. He also wanted independence and initially backed Hindu-Muslim unity. But by the 40s this changed and he wanted an independent state for Muslims. In 1929, Britain dragged India into World War II. Most Indians were not happy about it. Nehru and Gandhi refused to fight. They initiated the 1942 Quit India movement, a movement to have the British leave India entirely that resulted in nationwide protests against British rule. In 1943, famine hit Bengal. Up to 3 million people lost their lives, and many Indians believed that the famine was caused by colonial exploitation. At the end of World War II, Britain was cash-strapped. They realized they couldn't afford to run India much longer. They decided they would withdraw from the subcontinent, but didn't put a date on it. With talk of a transfer of power, tensions ran high in the country. Muslims were concerned that they would be vulnerable in a Hindu-majority country. Hindus, on the other hand, didn't want the country to be broken up. The Muslim League called for a strike in Kolkata to demand a homeland in August 1946. The protest went bad and sparked the Great Kolkata killings. Between 4,000 and 10,000 people were killed in the riots. It also sparked riots and killings in other parts of the country. The British were afraid that this kind of violence would lead to civil war. They decided that they wanted to speed up their exit from India and wash their hands of any potential conflict. The British PM announced that India would gain its independence no later than July 1948. But all that changed when a new viceroy to India and minor royal, Lord Louis Mountbatten, was appointed in March 1947. His job was to resolve the issue of partition by negotiating between Nehru and Jinnah and try to get Britain out of the country as soon as possible. In June 1947, he made a shock announcement. The country would be partitioned. India would be independent by August 1947, almost a whole year earlier than intended. But who would divide the Indian Empire? This is Cyril Radcliffe. He was the British lawyer tasked